we have with us this week Imogen from Trans Kids Deserve Better. So we've done a few episodes recently on Trans Kids Deserve Better. It's a protest group in the UK who did think that trans kids deserve better. Imogen, would you like to introduce yourself and maybe say a little bit about Trans Kids Deserve Better?
Yeah, so I'm Imogen. I use the pronouns. As mentioned, I'm from Trans Kids Deserve Better. We're a direct action group network thing where it's run all by young people under 18, by kids. We're run by kids, for kids. We do direct action against decisions and things that we're not happy with. So one of our more recent ones is the Equality and Human Rights Commission encampment and protest. I was part of the one in Glasgow, so I'm Scotland based. Well, what happened there was we climbed a ledge to the Equality and Human Rights Commission offices in Glasgow, me and two others, and we got arrested. That was fun. But yeah, basically we raise awareness around trans issues, things that affect us, and things we're not happy with.
Yeah, so I'm sure anyone who's subscribed to this channel will know the EHRC is the government's independent human rights watchdog, which is meant to be advocating for minority groups' rights, like trans people, but they're currently led by some single-issue anti-trans wackos, basically, and they have been pushing to take more and more of our rights away. And I thought when I saw that you guys had occupied the offices in Glasgow and London, right? It wasn't just Glasgow.
Yes.
Was it just
yeah,
those
we
two?
had I believe so. There might have been other ones, but what TKDB did was we in London. They were both meant to be from Monday to Friday. Ours got a bit short,
Yeah.
obviously. But the London group obviously managed to fulfill theirs, which was very happy. We were very happy about that.
Yeah, it was really cool. So they managed to camp outside for a week, and then the EHRC tried to get the courts to intervene and make it illegal for anyone to protest against them, and then they lost in court.
Yeah. Yeah, so on the final day, they got served an injunction, where they had to sort of go to court but thankfully, the Good Law Project, they helped us fight it, and it got rejected.
Yeah, which is really great
So
news.
sucks to suck.
Yeah, exactly. Though it would have been really grim, not just for trans people, but for people in general, if the organization that's taking away your human rights can ban you from protesting against them. Like, that is cartoon evil level nonsense.
They're an organization that is meant to protect the right to protest.
Yeah,
and is in fact
and just trying to
away
protest
from us.
Crazy. So yeah, you guys obviously have done this recent campaign against the EHRC, but you've actually done quite a lot of campaigns. I know there was one recently where I think it was your group who did a load of blood handprints on the EHRC thing.
So I believe that was on the NHS HQ.
Oh yes, it was NHS. You're right.
So that was in response to there's a report created about the suicide rates for transgender people. They're basically withholding that from us at the moment. And we're wanting that. We suspect the reason they're doing that is because of what is in the report. Obviously, with the current state of affairs with trans rights, it's not looking good. And I think they're just withholding that so that way they can say, oh, nothing's happening, nothing bad's happening, when in fact the report will most likely say otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially in the political situation where Labour wants to kind of they want to get rid of all this trans stuff, but just kind of push it under the rug and not have a fuss. And Wes Streeting has obviously got ideas that maybe he'll be the leader of the Labour Party one day. and he's the one in charge. And if he's like, his flagship policy, the first thing he did when he got into office was take healthcare away from children, resulting in their death rate going up. That's going to
Yeah.
look bad for him.
Yeah, making the ban on puberty blockers permanent until a review in 2027.
Yeah, which is disgusting. But also you've done a bunch of other actions. Was it you lot who handed Wes Streeting a paper coffin?
Yes, so
Amazing.
every day for the past over 260 days, I think, since the ban on puberty blockers, we've been leaving coffins outside of his constituency office every day without fail. We do it, and I'm so happy about that. And
Yeah,
during
good.
one of his conferences, I believe it was, we had the opportunity to go there and hand him it in person and tell him our thoughts to his face.
The first time he had ever probably talked to a trans kid, actually.
Probably.
Because he spends all his time talking to conversion therapists and saying he sympathizes with them trying to hurt their children. But
And
yeah,
the LGB Alliance.
yes, exactly. I like that one in particular, that whole like thing of making a show of handing or leaving paper coffins outside his constituency. Someone's got to clean that up. I'm sure that he gets some help to do it, to get rid of them, but it's like really symbolic, and the determination to have done it for like 200 plus straight days is amazing. I hope it's kept up. I found it inspiring.
I believe we were offered a meeting from Wes Streeting, but he ended up just stopped replying to us after being offered that meeting. So it says a lot.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he's ever gonna engage. Like, I mean, I know that you have to be a little bit soulless to be a politician. I mean, no offense to some politicians, but you have to be a little bit. But I think Wes Streeting's like pretty callous and uncaring. But even then, to talk to the people whose like futures you're ruining must still be difficult. So he's going to avoid that as best he can, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Was it also Trans Kids Deserve Better who released Locusts at the LGB Alliance conference?
Crickets.
Crickets.
Yes. We released crickets. They were called the Crit Kids, I believe. And yeah, we went there and released crickets on their conference, which stopped them talking about very transphobic things, and very proud of that one as well.
Yes, I mean, shutting down the LGB Alliance like hate speech conference is definitely direct action. Like that's the kind of thing that I just feel like there needs to be more protests in general, like peaceful protests against all these hate group things. I was just doing research for this show, watching some discussion with like all of the who's who of all these like transphobic extremists, like Sex Matters and all that kind of stuff. And they're just all having this discussion in the room, using slurs about trans people, saying we don't deserve human rights and stuff. They're like, where are the, we need more protests, making it so it's at least uncomfortable for them to be doing these things, and so they don't feel like they're just unopposed. So I feel like, as an insect nerd, I feel like I do have to say I'm a little bit worried about the well-being of the crickets, but I do think that it definitely made the news.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that Trans Kids Deserve Better has done so well at, is it like the news really avoids trying to talk about trans people positively or saying like what we want, and you seem to have managed to do quite a few things which have broken through into the news. How do you come up with all your ideas?
So all the ideas and actions and things, they're made by us. They're ideas from kids. We plan it, we facilitate it, we fund it with help from donations from the public. And yeah, it's us who are fighting for our rights. It shouldn't have to be us. We should be free to study for exams that are upcoming, but we are busy fighting for our lives. On the point about the crickets, we bought ones that were specifically going to die soon.
Yeah.
So we didn't want, yeah, just
I, yeah,
that's any
I'm
consolation.
not being too judgy. I did recognize the like pots. They're the ones you get from like shops for feeding lizards. So, um, they probably had a better end life than the ones who got eaten by a lizard. But yeah, no, I think it's really great that it's like by kids for kids. You're coming up with your own ideas. Like I think that's really incredible. And what's liberating about it is, I mean, this is like the classic thing that adults always say about kids, but you're not so like restricted by, a lot of trans activists have been doing this for like 30 whatever years, and they know how politics plays and they know how the media plays, and they kind of fall into these patterns, and they not always do things by the book, but by their own book. Whereas you guys have kind of just almost like come out of nowhere, because I mean, effectively in the grand scheme of things you have, and then have made more headlines and news stories in the last 6 months even than a lot of trans groups have done in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Not putting the others down,
when
but raising you up.
yeah, when it comes to making headlines, so obviously with the Glasgow protest, we made the front cover of 2 printed publications and multiple online ones. And it we're happy that we have that sort of awareness. That's why we do this, to spread the awareness. But the fact that three kids have to be arrested for us to make front page news, it says a lot about media.
It's like quite a desperate situation, because you wouldn't be climbing buildings and getting arrested if the standard protests where people just turn up in the street with signs were making any difference at all. I mean, like in London, they had that trans rights protest with like 40,000 people or something, and not a single news organization covered it. And when the gender criticals have a protest with like 4 people, the news covers them. So, like, if anyone is watching this and thinking, this is ridiculous, why are these adults encouraging these kids to do these dangerous things, and why are these kids, risking their education by, like, you don't want to do it. I don't want you to do this. The situation is you, the viewer, are involved in a situation where our rights are being taken away and no one is doing anything about it. So we're feeling more and more desperate, and if this kind of stuff's going to happen, isn't it? Like that's the inevitable reality of it. And if it's not going to be you, it'll be someone else who feels desperate. Yeah. So you got arrested. How was that? Was that like scary? Did they treat you well, or?
Well, so it was individual for us. We all have a sort of separate experience, but we all sort of collectively experienced it. The police said that there were no injuries when there were when we were being taken in through the window. I'd banged my head on the windowsill. All they said was, "Watch your head." Didn't check it or anything. In one of the vans, so one of the activists, who had their hands cuffed behind their back, banged their nose against the sort of plastic glass in there and had a nosebleed. Because of the driving. And another activist, the police officers that arrested him, they made their goal to hit their shoulder on every sort of threshold that they could, and it was just horrible. One of us was kept there for about 8-9 hours, and 2 of us were kept in the cell for about 7 hours, not knowing what was going on. I think that was probably the scariest part, but not knowing what was happening.
Yeah. I mean, incredibly brave to take that action on knowing that like anything could have happened, really. This is definitely like, it's completely disgusting overuse of force when it's children like holding a sign on a building. It's clearly not violent. It's clearly not endangering the public or the police officers or even the staff and stuff at the EHRC. The only people in danger are you for climbing a building, so they should be being extra careful, not extra violent. And how they can justify, I mean, in your words, did you resist arrest? I mean, maybe you don't want to say that.
We sought legal advice before. We always do this for all of our actions. We talk to legal professionals
Good.
about what to do. We were told don't resist. If you get arrested, just go with it.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We didn't talk to them because we only told them what we had to, and we were given this legal advice. We didn't resist. We didn't do anything. We went with what they said, and they still treated us that harshly. Within 15 minutes of us being on that ledge, 2 police vans and a police car, lights and sirens came in. I think altogether there were about 7 police vans coming and going for 3 kids on a ledge.
That is insane. It's so ridiculous. I mean, the fact that they did such a strong response shows that you, like, were making enough of a scene that they panicked. Because really, they could have sent 1 police van with, like, 4 people and told you you're under arrest and then, like, taken you carefully, and that could have been it. And they wouldn't have needed to handcuff you either, right? I mean, maybe that's standard police procedure, but it seems a bit ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, well done for, like, surviving that ordeal. Are there any other campaigns that you're particularly proud of that you've been involved in?
So this was one of my first big actions with TKDB, personally. I know a lot of other people have been involved a lot longer and know a lot more. I'm just proud of all of them and all of our sort of collective actions together. Being able to come together, just a bunch of kids having fun, trying to raise awareness for our rights.
Trying to live
and
kids.
Trying to live, exactly.
A classic
I'm just proud of everyone.
Good. I mean, I'm proud of you too. And I'm sure the chat is. Like, one of the classic things you often hear is, let kids be kids, when they're talking about LGBT kids. And it's like, well, this is it. If you let kids be kids, then people like you wouldn't be having a protest for their futures. So I have 2 more questions. One is, if people wanted to get involved, how do they get involved? I'm not recommending direct action or anything, but, you know, if someone wanted to contact you and whatever.
Yeah. So we've got a website, Trans Kids Deserve Better. You can find us online.
Sorry.
If you're a kid under 18 and you want to join Trans Kids Deserve Better, you can sign up. Actually, yeah, on our website, if you go to support, I think it is.
Yeah.
It comes up with a form, and you can check whatever you are.
I love this, actually. So just for everyone watching, so you can enter your name here and your email and your pronouns, and then you see which one you are, whether you're a trans person who's under 18, trans person who's over 18, a cis ally, or a transphobe may not be contacted.
Yeah. So what happens if you sign up as an adult is you get added to our adult supporter chat, where we sort of just contact you if we need help or support for actions. If you're a kid, you join us. And yeah, if you're transphobe, hi.
And then the other thing is, if people want to, like, financially support your cause, obviously you've got crickets to buy, you know, you've got train fares to get to whatever, you've got paper to buy for folding coffins. Like, how can people help you there? Have you got a donation link?
Yeah,
I think so.
So
I have it up here, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you're in the sort of space to support us financially, which we really appreciate, we have I think we've got a few of these, but this is the main one we're using at the moment for the EHRC stuff. If you can just donate there, we heavily appreciate it. All the funds get used for kids, for our actions, for our food, for our travel, for everything, and also for adult supporters who help us. Everything gets reimbursed by us. So yeah, if you are in the space to sort of help us financially, we really appreciate the help. Yeah.
Amazing. So chat, if you were considering sending me a super chat today, you're totally welcome to. But maybe your money would be better spent donating a few pounds, if you have them spare, to Trans Kids Deserve Better, because they're out here literally fighting for their futures, and I'm sure that everyone watching cares about them having futures. Yeah, so thank you very much for coming on and like talking about Trans Kids Deserve Better. And I feel like we often see your actions and your statements, but it's good to like see some of the human side behind it. Have you got anything else you want to, like, any shout outs you want to give, or any other like upcoming protests or anything you want to talk about? Or
just to everyone in Trans Kids Deserve Better, y'all are amazing. I joined really recently, and yous have been amazing to welcoming me. It's such a great community, and I love them all. Thank you to the adult supporters, and anyone supporting us. Yeah, thank you for supporting us.
Well, thanks very much for coming on and telling us all about it, and I hope chat appreciated that and that opportunity to hear from you, and good luck in your future endeavours, and I hope you avoid getting arrested in future, but no, we'll see.